So you had all your Chrysler cars that you bought, and they're sitting on your lot.
Yeah,
And you're going to make money if you sell them. Then Chrysler says, by the way, we're breaking our agreement with you.
Right.
We're no longer going to sell you anymore. You've got to sell the ones you have. How do they give you a deadline to sell them? They're yours, aren't they?
Yeah, they're mine, but here's what happens. First off, you have a little bit of setup out of here. We've had 3 months prior to that where Chrysler is saying and coming to the dealers, pleading to the dealers, you need to buy this product, you need to buy this product. We need cash flow to keep us afloat. We got to keep this thing going. You guys have got to buy this product. So they're basically putting pressure on us to buy more and more than we would ever buy. Outside of a business model, it would make any good sense, trying to be the good guy out there to keep this manufacturer afloat. So we do that 3 months in a row, keep buying more and more and more product, of which then to get the letter by saying that you open it up on May 14th and saying you've been now terminated, and we're not buying back your cars, we're not buying back your special tools, we're not buying back your parts, and oh, by the way, you're just stuck with all this stuff. You will be a franchise dealer up until June 9th. So now you have all this product that typically you carry 3 months of supply in inventory, of which you got 24 to 26 days to liquidate it all. Because if you don't get rid of it, they become used cars. You don't get incentives. You don't get rebates. You don't get all the dealer cash.
Okay.
You're stuck with all that stuff.
They couldn't sell them as a new car.
You can't sell a new car, and then you're not price competitive because you're not going to get any incentives from the manufacturer, which typically is up to $5,000 per car. That's a huge loss. In fact, my loss, as it was calculated by Chrysler and by Chrysler Financial, is right about $200,000 I would have to eat to have the cars that I had in stock.
Now, Chrysler is a private corporation. I think it was a huge mistake to bail them out, even to give them the loans. I'm sure you guys disagree. I'm particularly angry at George Bush for going against what Congress wanted and using TARP funds, not stimulus funds, but TARP funds to give GM and Chrysler money to hold them over until Obama came. If he didn't do that, what happened would have happened well before now, and Chrysler would have been gobbled up and changed, and GM would have been restructured. We just saved ourselves, put off the pain by a half a year. But what is GM and Chrysler doing right now? Let me see if I got this. Chrysler is bankrupt. They will be no longer. Is that right?
No, they're
in
and back out of bankruptcy.
They're already out.
They're already out.
They were into bankruptcy in basically April 30 or so, and they were back out of bankruptcy by mid-June, by about June
9th. They're out.
With a whole lot less franchises.
They became, about 789 dealerships less. Went from about 3,200 dealerships to about 2,700 dealerships.
Why would that be good for them? That's the part I don't get.
It's not absolutely not good for them.
Why did they do it then?
They were pressured by the Auto Task Force, the White House Auto Task Force.
By the Obama administration. Why? I'm still missing that. If what you're telling me is true.
Toyota. The Auto Task Force loves the model of Toyota, thinking that Toyota is the most successful auto manufacturer out there, so let's go ahead and take their model of fewer dealers. So they came out there saying fewer dealers, basically make them more profitable. So those dealers being more profitable, they'll be able to sell the car at a higher price point, which again doesn't make any sense to the manufacturer. The manufacturer's going to still sell it to the dealer for whatever cost it is. They're saying less incentives, but it is incentives based upon the number of dealers. Your incentive comes if in fact your car is not desirable. If you have a car that's not desirable, nobody wants to buy, that's when you have to put the incentive on it. You build a good, desirable vehicle out there, it has nothing to do with the dealer body. It has to do with
by the way,
production.
I don't know what's a good model, what's a bad model. If Chrysler is a good model, great. If it's a bad model, it'll fail. What I am scared of is when central planners come around, a bunch of guys in some committee room saying, you know what we're doing? We're government, but we'll decide that this private company, Toyota, we're going to force other guys to do what Toyota does. No, that stifles innovation.
It's wrong.
And this is really anti-consumer too, because if you have more dealerships out there, you have more opportunity. Consumers have the opportunity to each dealership to try to get the best price. Right. And even in the Obama Task Force's white papers on this, they said this will increase the cost of each car, thereby making the manufacturer more profitable, which it won't, but it will increase the cost of the car to the consumer. So from a consumer standpoint, consumers are really the ones that are hurt most on this.
Let me see if I understand this. I'm completely blown away by this. So Chrysler really didn't want to close 750 guys like you. You certainly didn't want to get closed.
Exactly.
But in order to get the money from Obama, they had to do what Obama wanted them to do, and that was to close these shops and force up demand.
They were under extreme pressure to close dealerships. And in fact, there was a memo dated March 31st, which said, we don't believe, this was between their first plan for revitalization and their second plan. The Auto Task Force said, we don't think you're closing dealerships rapidly enough. Okay, the dealerships. Here's who's hurt, John. Rural America, which all three of the domestics grew up in rural America. That meant that you went out to eastern Colorado or western Colorado, and basically every town out there had a Ford, Chevy, and Chrysler store. Toyota, Honda, VW, and others have international nameplates have done very well, and they're a very good product. But they've mostly grown up in the metro areas. So it's like a politician turning his or her back on their base. These manufacturers have literally, in Chrysler and GM's case, turned their back on their base. In GM's case, they've terminated over 2/3 of their Cadillac dealerships. And you won't have a Cadillac store outside of the metro Denver area or up to Fort Collins and Colorado Springs. 11 dealerships were terminated outstate in Colorado. Now,
and you understand, as a free marketeer, I'm fine with businesses going out of business, and don't take this personally.
No, sure, no,
I'm
absolutely.
fine with you going out of
Me
business.
too. I am also the
But
same thing.
what bothers me here is that Chrysler was kept on life support when it shouldn't have been, and GM is now a nationalized industry. If Chrysler went out of business, then you probably wouldn't have purchased this, or you would have known what was going on. But you're telling me that the dictates of here's the money to stay alive. The money to stay alive means we will tell you how to run your business because the government has a whole lot of experience in running businesses.
Well, one thing about it is the Auto Task Force, most of them don't have any background in automotive business at all. In fact, a lot of those people don't even own cars, so you can probably know where their bias is. You know, they want to do all electric and green stuff is what they want to do, but they dictated this many dealers had to go away. Now, Chrysler chose the dealers. You know, they did something out of there too, and it's kind of, here I had my letter on May 14th, and then on May 19th, I had Chrysler executives along with Steve Landry driving around my lot. Now, Steve Landry happens to be a dealer principal that has two other partners. The other two other partners is Mac McClarty. He's with he's an ex-chief of staff for Clinton, and he was also on the Obama campaign. And then you also have Robert Johnson, which is the founder of Black Entertainment Television, and he's the other partner in this deal too. He's the billionaire that puts all this money together to buy points. Well, these guys were on my lot on the 19th.
They were driving on your lot.
Driving on my lot.
To do what?
to reopen that
To
point.
reopen that point.
When you say reopen that point.
To have them build a new dealership there. Take my dealership away from me, give me no compensation for it, and basically give it to them for free.
Them being another Chrysler dealer?
Meaning those three guys I just talked about, which is their dealer group, for them to build a store there.
So in other words, since you're a smaller dealer, you got closed, Chrysler's going to give it to another dealer that's bigger.
That has some very strong connections.
It is. And this is what happens with planned economies. In a
Right.
market economy, we all get to take our risk. We all take chances. You can buy a dealership, and if you buy a dealership that sells lousy cars, you're not going to do well. And you're right. Car dealers are risk takers. I think you see that in their personalities. That's why they're vivacious individuals. But now we've got a planned economy, and in a planned economy, it's not that the consumer gets last choice, it's whoever has the best political connection. And you're alluding to, or maybe you're just telling me straight out, that these people who have the connections, they're the ones now, through the government, are going to get the dealership.
You can follow it and see. I'm just saying they got some strong ties that's there. So, I mean, you have to come to your own conclusion why they were out there 5 days after that. And we're not even finished with the bankruptcy yet.
It was
I
really
just got my letter on May 14th. The bankruptcy is not to be done until June 9th. And these guys are already shopping my point to these people. So this had to be set into motion long ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really bad faith on Chrysler's part. It was bad faith on Chrysler's part to terminate 5 of the top 7 dealerships in the state of Colorado. Their best dealerships, their best customer service, their highest volume, their most profitable. Shoot them in the head and then bring out-of-staters in before they were even terminated, before they're even dead after being shot, and shop those points to new entrepreneurs. I mean, this
And
is
again,
really
since
un-American.
most people don't understand the term shop those points. I mean, the store locations.
Yes.
Okay.
And the location, they can't get Jim's store because Jim owns it, unless Jim wants to sell it. But some dealers, in some cases, the dealer will be really forced to sell their property to their replacement, who was handpicked by either the White House or by Chrysler.
Wow.
Because there's a
But
rent
what
factor.
you're telling me now, that Chrysler is now government motors, as long as also GM is government motors. So you're telling me that Chrysler is working under the auspices of the administration. Those people who have the connections will likely do pretty well out of all this.